Hey,
Now that's how
that's,
you slide.
that's gonna be a good intro.
Oh yeah,
What's going on?
that's how you slide into the interviews.
Yeah,
Well, in my
seriously,
case, oh yeah,
good stuff.
yeah.
Do you guys still have snow?
Hmm.
Do you guys still have snow?
I'm looking outside right now. You can't even tell that we did.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
melting here too.
yeah, it's crazy. So like I was like I would decline. Um, in fact, no, excuse me. I was going to say decline yesterday. But that's how the snow come down. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And it was going on and off and off and on. And I'm like, make up your mind. What do you want to do? Just make up your mind as such. Um, but the way it looks out right now, you can even tell that it did snow yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. At least in Canada, that's normal behavior. But for
Yeah.
you guys, that's is that normal there in Indiana
Is what normal?
to get snow like that in April? No,
Nope. Nope.
nice. Gotta love that global
Nope.
warming, eh?
Hey man, look, I don't want to hear I don't personally I don't want to hear not one person say anything that about there's no such thing as climate change. I don't want to hear nobody say there's no such thing as global warming. I don't want to hear none of those arguments have been defeated as of yesterday. So
Yeah,
take
yeah,
that.
for sure.
Take that with a biscuit, a side of ham, and a Krabby Patty at the Krusty Krab for all I care.
I love it. I love it. What an intro. All right, Chris, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and what the heck it is that you do?
Oh boy. Okay, so for those who do not know me, my name is Christopher Byrd. By profession, I work as a recreational therapist here in the bipolar state of Indiana in the Midwest. I've been a therapist now for going on 3 years, and I work with individuals with disabilities on the Medicaid waiver system throughout the state.
Right. So for those of us in Canada, what is the Medicaid waiver system?
All right. If I had to simplify, which I hope I can simplify it now,
Go for
so for one thing, hello to everybody up in the Great White North. I have definitely have to make a visit out there sometime. Wink, wink. Definitely go out there and visit. But for those who are not familiar with what the Medicaid waiver system is in Canada, it's a system in when you have a huge number of individuals with disabilities who have government provided funding for the care and services that they have. Um, these services range from rec therapy, PT, OT. Some may have budget for a nurse aide, for residential living, for long-term care if needs be, transportation, being involved in a daily workshop. There's a whole bunch of such, a whole
That's
bunch of
awesome.
stuff. Basically, what my role is as a rec therapist, and the company that I work at is one of I want to say 8 or so providers of rec therapy on the that does take the Medicaid waiver here in the state of Indiana. And essentially we have long a long document say like this, which is called a notice of action or an NOA. And when it will have the client's name, the date, like their name, their birth date, the entire length of their Medicaid plan, which varies from year to year. And it also has listed under that the services that they have. So every person will have a case management for a case manager to handle um, all their services and such. Then you'll have, say, a budget for if they have uh, a a day program, right therapy, and each section has their own funding that's provided, um,
Okay.
with everybody. So for me, if I was to look at a NOA, I go straight down to my section for a new person, and I would see that I have this amount of units and this amount of money that's allocated for this person's budget. And if your students watching this, please, please, please know how to convert units to hours. It will save yourself a lot of time. Please do that because anyways, I would have all those units that are right there. And the way that I like to allocate it, I allocate it based on my availability and how the person's budget is. So some people can have, say, 5 or 6 hours a month for right therapy services. Some of my folks have almost 30 hours a month for right therapy service. And I can use those however I want to. I can take people to an Indiana Pacers game. I can take people to an Indianapolis Colts game or a baseball game or a play. All of those things I've done in the past. So if the availability is there, if the opportunity is there, we go all in knee deep.
That's awesome. What
No
an
bread,
awesome job
no,
opportunity.
hey, look, no bread, no water, just meat. We go all in.
I love it. I love
We
it.
go all in.
Do you have any restrictions with that at all? Like, does it matter based on their like physical or cognitive disability, or you kind of just adapt that to what they're interested in, or
I mean, you can dial it back to the person's initial interest. Like, I have some people who I actually help some things when it comes to playing guitar. I have some people who I know really need to work on, say, social interaction or community
right?
awareness. So we will just go to any and everywhere that I so please. Now, if you have people who are in a wheelchair, for example, like I've had in the past and still do today, it can be a little tricky because knowing how to, students is another thing. If you know how to navigate a lift van or how to disassemble a wheelchair or how to use a gait belt, with your people, please know how to do those things. Just please,
Do
um,
your training.
please. Um, those things can be kind of tricky sometimes, but this all goes back to TR 101, knowing your patient. Because if you know your patient, that right there solves so many things for you in the past. So
Right.
it may take some time to build that rapport, but when you build it, it's there for a very, very long time. And I've had some people with I've had people with CP, MS, let's see, mostly intellectual disabilities or people who are on the spectrum. I've had I've had a couple of people with schizophrenia in the past. I've had them.
Hmm.
Uh, so I have a wide amount of folks. So my youngest person is 12. My oldest is 70, is going to be 71 in a few months. So
Wow.
it's
So
a
pretty scrappy then, hey.
big range of folks. Not like it. So one of these days I could be one of these days I would be sitting back and listening to Frank Sinatra and Chuck Berry and singing the Beach Boys with my one of my oldest folks, but then with another person, and I hate that they made me do this, but I love them anyways. I have to listen to Baby Shark. I have to listen to Yo Gabba Gabba, and they weren't even
Right.
born when that show came out. Or I have to
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
or I have to listen to whatever music that they like because I listen to it and not just hear a hibbity hobbity hibbity hibbity. That's all I hear, and I'm like, what is this? I can't. Even, it's like I need to be their therapist because I can't understand the things that they're saying. Um, but it's very interesting. So that's one
Okay.
thing I like about my job. Every day is different. I love it.
Yeah, every day, I guess you never know what you're gonna get, right?
Oh, you never know. Mm-mm,
Yeah, that's
mm-mm.
awesome. It's great. So I guess that kind of jumps into my next question then is how is recreation therapy different in the US rather than what us folks in Canada might experience as far as your schooling goes, your registration with TRO or CTRS? I think it's different over there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if Canada has it, but I know that no, here in the States, there are options for somebody. Well, the main obviously goal with somebody to be a CTRS. That's the main goal. Now,
Hmm.
there are rec therapists, but then there are licensed rec therapists. There'll be recreational therapy assistants, kind of like a mix of all three of those. There are
Hmm.
currently, and don't quote me on this, there's probably four states right now, going on five, because I think Georgia's trying to get their state to require licensure as well. But I believe it's North Carolina, Oklahoma, Utah, and I believe New Hampshire that all require licensure, to practice, which essentially means that, one has to be a a rec therapist first, and to practice in that state, they'll have to, have their paperwork in, fill out a couple of forms, etc., pay a fee.
Right.
Oh, Washington D.C. too. Thank you for that. Like I said, don't quote me on that. Um, and
That's right.
they'll have licensure. Now, me personally, I'm like kind of both on both sides as far as the certification versus licensure debate. I wouldn't mind being licensed. I wouldn't mind it and such. So I think over here for us, during last year of COVID, I've had many friends I went to school with, who have had jobs furloughed or lost or hours cut or whatever the case may be, and it was really really tough. Meanwhile, if you look at professions like say OT or PT or speech or any other health professions, they were hit for a little bit, but not like super hit. Um, but I think here in the States, people, I mean, rec therapy in general, whether it's here and I will probably say for Canada as well, is still like a relatively newer field compared to nursing, PT, speech, etc.
Yeah.
So people are still like really still understanding the value of everything. And like I said, I don't know about here. I don't know about up there in Canada, but I know here in the States, like when I went to school, when I got out with my undergrad, I was able to go to practice right away.
Hmm.
Now you could get your master's in TR, or you can even go and get your doctorate slash PhD. You can do that. Now, do Chris plans on going back to school? Unless somebody's willing to pay for it and such, Chris is not coming back because it's not coming out of my pocket. But if somebody else want to
Right.
pay for it, by all means. Um, and I think here in the States there are places that right there is thriving. Like I've mentioned Indiana before. Um, but I just think as far as where you go, and this is another tidbit. Now this is my personal opinion. This is from Chris. This is me personally.
Personal
And
opinions from Chris.
in my humble opinion, networking will open more doors than degrees ever will.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna say
And
that
I'm
one more.
saying that like going to university in like a week and 100%, like your networking and who you know is so, so important,
Yeah,
right?
I'll say that one more time because I think somebody missed that. Networking will open more doors than degrees ever will. I would advise to students or to students or even professors who've been in the field for quite some time. Get out and talk to folks. There's
Hmm.
so many different avenues. We have, this here, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's all different types of ways to get out. It's not that people are like not accessible because clearly they are, but can we open ourselves to actually look at say, hmm, what else is out there? Because there's things that I don't know. There's not a whole lot I know about how rec therapy is in Canada. But for me, I like to keep myself sharp and to learn things. Because chances are I'm never going to know everything. So if I don't know everything, I can always learn something. Now, I think that's common sense.
Yeah, if you don't know something, you know somebody that does know it, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
like help each other, talk to each other, for goodness sakes.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, no, it's really different here in Canada too. Like there's so many different routes that you can take. You can go to college for 2 years and get your diploma and then get a rec therapy job. You can go to university for 4 years, go for your CTRS, get a rec therapy job. Like you kind of end up all in the same place anyways. I know that like different degrees open up, like different opportunities here. You can get different management positions and you know, work in different places like hospitals and stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting how many different pathways you can take, and you kind of just float your way up. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is, one of those things that, you know, as time goes on, who knows? Maybe maybe right there we have a bigger light in Canada and here in the States as well. Maybe it'll be a point to where it does require licensure. Who knows? But I just think that it's just one of the things you just gotta give it time because it is relatively newer as compared to the other health professions that are out there. So I think it's possible personally. I honestly do.
Yeah, I mean, people have been advocating for rec therapy since like the 80s, and I think that we're going to be advocating for it for the next,
Yeah,
whatever. Like it
it's
never
really
ends, right?
yeah. it's one of those things to where, in a funny way and such, we all know about COVID from last year. We all know about this already. You know,
Hmm.
if nobody really thought that, leisure and things to keep you occupied or things that you enjoy that can keep you occupied, if nobody realized that, I hope last year really summed all of that up. I truly hope it did because, you know, and me personally, I don't have TikTok and such. I don't care too much for TikTok. The only TikTok I want to follow is my watch. That's that. So
I'm
it's
gonna
just
quote
real.
you on that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I just don't like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but hey, if that's what you like, you can go down the TikTok rabbit hole, do you and such. But you know, I don't know. I just think that everybody's just. I mean, everybody's learning. Everybody's learning. So I mean, um, it's an everyday process, if you ask me.
Oh man. Okay, so my next question, what does your programming look like? I know you've kind of already jumped into that. You know, you're taking them out for different day trips and the sky's the limit basically.
Mhm.
Um, but what does it look like for you when so you get your new client, you're going through your assessment process. What's the first thing that you do?
Build rapport,
Build rapport, right?
which 10-bit students don't just think of like, hey, okay, person, API. I hope we know what API is at this point. I hope so. And then treatment, and then they're done. No, we're so fixated on going through a process, but at the same time, you have a human being that's right in front of you. They have emotions, they have blood, they have skin, they have bones, all those things. Can you actually take the eyes off yourself and actually put on somebody else and actually talk to them? Now, I'm in Indiana. Folks like country down here. I don't care for country. I don't. But if somebody want to listen to Johnny Cash, if somebody want to listen to old man, Willie Nelson, if somebody wants to listen to uh, people, if somebody wants to listen to people and such, hey, we will do that because it's not about what I like, at least not when I'm
No,
with them. It's about what they like. And chances
right.
are, if you do things that other people like, chances are they'll grow to learn and kind of go outside the box and do things that you would want them to do.
Right. It's that no like trust factor, right?
Yeah, it's been a trust, man. It's been a rapport. That's why a lot of my
Yeah.
folks. That's why, like with me, with a lot of my clients, that relationship is very rock solid because I took the time out to build rapport with people, find out about things that they like to do, what things kind of make them tick. Just going underneath the surface and such, because those things are important. Because when you're with your clients, they're not looking for um, another person to say, okay, time to do this, time to do that, time to do that, time to do
Right.
this.
Right.
What I
It's
will,
that dignity piece, right?
exactly. When I'm with my people, I want my people to feel that, oh my goodness, I cannot wait for Chris to come today. I have so many things to tell him, and we're gonna have a good time. If your clients are not feeling better after you saw them, then how they felt before you saw them, you did not do your job.
Right. I mean,
That's
they
how
can
I
teach
feel.
you so much in school about like, okay, knowing the modalities of rec therapy and knowing like, the pillars, but if you can't look at an individual like a person and, try to reach
Yeah.
them on a personal level and, then you're failing, right? So,
Yeah. If we've actually had more, if we've had more therapists who actually were very relatable as opposed to being so by the book, it will solve
hmm.
so many problems. But once
Right.
again, this is Chris's opinion. This is Chris's opinion.
Hitting with the truth today.
Exactly. I mean, that's just me. Anything about me say these are my opinions, and like I said on Monday, or Tuesday, whatever day that was, when I was with Erica, I think it was Tuesday. For me, I respect other people's opinions. I have my own opinions. I respect theirs, and I respect mine. That's how I feel.
For
Because,
sure.
like I said, you do not have to attend any or every argument that you might be invited to. You don't have to, because we're all grown adults, right?
Right.
We're all mature and responsible and intelligent adults, right?
Right.
I digress.
Is that what you would say separates you from other recreation therapists?
Say it again.
What would you say separates you from other recreation therapists?
I don't BS.
Straight to it.
I don't BS. I try not to BS. I don't see why somebody would BS. And another thing too, I'm willing to go, I'm willing to say the things that most people, or I want to say things that you don't normally hear other rate therapists talk about or
Right.
will advocate for and such. Because this is how I look at it. If somebody's going to throw stones at me because I talk about things with social justice, if I talk about women's rights in a positive light, if I talk about what's going on outside behind these four walls, if I talk about those things, and if people say, excuse me, let me give representation. If people were to hop on, if people were to hop on to say, okay, when he's talking about this, he's talking about that, he's talking about women and blah blah blah. He's talking about all these type of things, blah 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 and such. Let's go ahead and cancel this cat right here. If people were to say that towards me, I don't care, because hey, I have my right to for freedom of speech. I have my right to express my opinion, and I didn't enter healthcare just to be all goody two shoes or just to act as if everything is all good all the time and such. I got into this field to help those who cannot help themselves, to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, and to be an agent of change. We have so many people who are out there on planet Earth who are just sitting back and just watching the world burn, as opposed to getting up from off of Fortnite, getting up from off of TikTok, getting up from watching Bridgerton or whatever the hell is on TV nowadays and such, and actually going outside and actually being the change that they want to see in their own neighborhoods and such.
Preach.
Because at the end of the day, life is a wheel, and the wheel's gonna keep on turning. But the question
Right.
is, are you actually gonna do something about it, or are you gonna wait for somebody to do something about it? Because if it's got to be, it's up to me. Damn it.
So, like, when is your book coming out?
That's a very good question. I've thought about writing a book. I thought about having a podcast too. Wink, wink, notch, notch. I've thought about it too. Um,
Yeah.
it's something that I have thought about doing. I'm not sure exactly, you know, when it will and such, but I have thought about that. And and for me, I like to dance to the beat of my own drum. I really do. That's just me as a person. I don't you know I don't try to be a yes person. I try to respect those who I can, but at the same time, I try to stay true to myself, because at the end of the day, you can take away my job, you can take away this, you can take away that. I got me. I got me, and I gotta have me. I have to. Um,
Absolutely.
because we live in times to when we live in times to when people's perception of themselves are based upon people who are never there for them. Oh, I'm preaching tonight. Let me stop. Let me stop. Y'all ain't trying to hear that. Y'all ain't trying to hear that. Um,
No,
are
it's true.
exactly. So for me as a therapist, it's like, hey, I'm willing to go ahead first into the water and address those things. I'm willing to, because like
Right.
you can't just play safe all the time as a therapist. You can't.
No, yeah.
So, and I would say that's one of the things that makes me me. I have a lot of people who I work with and colleagues and such, and I know they have different skills and assets and stuff that work well for them. And hey, I appreciate that, for
Right.
sure. I just know for me, I don't mind, having my head in the water or getting stones thrown at me. I don't mind. I don't mind it. I don't run away from the fire. I jump in it.
You got to jump in head first, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
love it.
I dive in it.
That's awesome. So I know that we've been talking for a while, and you've put a lot of videos out there of you playing your guitar and everything, um, busting out the tunes and playing all these really great songs. And some of the things that's come out is you put out like Christian music and things like that. And I know that faith is a big part about what you do as a professional. How do you think that that impacts your role?
As a therapist,
Yeah.
um, well, let's see, how can I say this without uh all right, let me put this out for disclaimer. Me personally, I do believe in God Himself, because Lord knows. Well, let me start with this. I should be dead right now. I should be, um, because I did not like the person who I saw in the mirror back in 2019. I did not like that person. I was in a previous relationship at the time, and I remember I woke up one day extremely overwhelmed out of my mind and such, and I I knew I wasn't going to be going into work that day and such, and I called her and said, I'm just not going to go into work. I just felt like the world was just coming down and such, in one day. And she said, like, what are you talking about? And I said, I'm going to the river. She said, why are you going to the river? She said, what the hell are you talking about? And I said, I'm going to the river to wash my sins away. Now, thank God I didn't go because I would have. Um, and at that point, that's when I knew I needed help. I needed it because I didn't like who I was in the mirror. I didn't like that. And these are like some deep, intimate stuff about my own personal life that you don't see me put those things out, for everybody to see and such. But now I'm at a point to where, hey, this story may indirectly it may help somebody else out. So that's that. So for me, um, there was a period to when I knew I had to, get help, do a lot of soul searching. Yeah, let me say soul searching and start looking deep inside myself. And I know that there's been a lot of times where the good Lord Himself has gotten me out of so many situations and in the last like couple of years and such to where I should be dead. But I'm not. So if you ask me, being a sinner saved by grace, I just want to use whatever things that I have, whatever type of energy that I have in my own life, um, that by the time I leave this earth, that I have absolutely nothing left of me to give, and I would have gave everything out to make this world a little bit of a better place. And if you
That's amazing.
ask, and if you ask me, if that means being around individuals with disabilities, and whether it's say you're going out to a park or you go and grab some ice cream, which sounds really good right now, or whether you do this or do that and such, because at the end of the day, I may not know it indirectly, like though like on the surface, but I know indirectly it's making a difference in the lives of those who have life conditions that I would never know how it's like, or would have had conditions that I've never even had to deal with. And if you ask me, if you're doing those things from the heart, then one will be blessed from them the way that the good Lord sees it.
Right. 100%.
So I mean that and I'm very passionate about that. And that's how I really feel about that. Now, I'm not always perfect. I'm not. Let me put that out there. I'm not. But I do try to make sure that my heart is in the right place. Because if my heart's not in the right place, people can see it. Though people can legitimately see that. So for me, it's doing what I can just to add value. That's what I try to do. If somebody were to have a conversation with me, that's all I want to do is add value because we got a lot of people out there who want to take things away and take this and take that, but not give something to somebody. Giving that encouraging word, giving say your time, your attention, or your thoughts, or whatever the case may be, and such. And see, this is not
Right.
red there. This is not red there related. This is life related. You can talk to anybody who knows me in person, and they will tell you, hey, if they ever have a conversation with me and such, I'm like, hey, how's this? How's that? How's your family? How's whatever and such? Hey, keep doing what you're doing. I have a good day. Blah blah blah. Those type of things. I keep the door open and such, but I cannot force others to walk through the door. But if they walk through the door, I am more than happy to give them a nice hug and say, hey, let's have some tea. Let's talk.
That's such a great way to look at it too. Like I think that, whether you belong to some sort of denomination or whatever you believe in, being that person that you're the representation of light, you're the representation of positivity and love, you're the safe spot, and I think that that really reflects out in who you are and, who we try to be as rec therapists. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
you're just that accepting person. And
yeah, because the world needs more love these days.
yeah,
You know, the
absolutely.
world the world needs a whole lot of more love. And for me, I have friends of different backgrounds, different cultures, different beliefs, what have you. I treat them the same as if I'm talking to my mom, same way. Because if you
Hmm.
ask me, chances are, if we all remember the golden rule, because like I said, we're all responsible adults, doing unto others as you have them doing to you. That's it. And it's and this is what like I made a status on my personal Instagram not so long ago. You give good value and you leave it to others to whether return it or to not.
Right,
But by the end of the day, that's their choice.
for
You
sure.
can only control two things like your actions and your attitude. That's it. So for me, if I give the value, I did my job.
Right.
Now I try not to keep count. I don't, because I have better things to do with that. But I do try to be the person that you know. 'Cause if I'm not happy with myself, it can be told in how I talk to or communicate with others. Ooh, isn't that something? Isn't that something? Because I mean, if you ask me, life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Hmm.
You know, what you put in does come out. If you're comparing yourself to those Instagram overrated plastic surgery baddies on Instagram, you can laugh at that. That's the one that meant to be funny. You can laugh at that. Chances, then chances are you're going to compare somebody else's highlight reel to how you are in real life. Because if you ask me, I don't try to live in cyberspace. Because cyberspace and social media, that's like Hollywood. You got all these effects. You can do this and do that. You can filter everything. But real life is like Broadway. If you mess up on Broadway, you mess up. I've never been to a Bro- I've never been to a Broadway play. I would love to, especially to go see The Lion King. That's just me personally. But you get the idea. So I try to be real as you can get, man. I try to, man. That's it.
At the end of the day, that's what matters, right? You got to try
Oh
as
yeah.
much as you can. And I think it's like especially hard right now with COVID and everything going on to try and be that positive person and be that loving support all the time, whether it's in your personal life or for your clients, when internally, like you said, you're just not feeling it. You want to take it all away and, call
Hmm.
it quits. And it's hard to be
Exactly.
that
Now,
person, that foundation, right?
right now, this baby right here, this is where a lot of my creativity comes from. For those who don't know, I do play guitar. I've been playing since I was 15 years old. This is for my guitar folks out there. This is my Gretsch 2622. But if you're not familiar with guitar, this is Grace for Charity. That's what it is. No, this is Grace for Charity and such. A lot of my creativity comes from music, um, and just playing stuff. Like sometimes I'll play something and all of a sudden, um, oh, like boom, like an idea just popped up that I could do with one of my people. It is so unique, but that's what makes me me. That's what makes me
Absolutely.
me. Like I could be no, I don't know, just I'm just me. I don't like to be a cop. I don't want to be a copy of somebody else. I want to be an original me. That's it. I don't want to be an original me. That's it. That's all I can be. That's all I can be.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, I'm jumping topics here
You're
to
good.
the elephant in the room. How has COVID changed everything for you guys, if at all? Because I know that America is, you guys are on a whole different book over there.
That could be a whole other conversation of itself.
Yeah, I know. It's a whole,
Um,
my bad.
how has COVID changed everything? Are we talking work wise, personal wise? like a little bit of both?
As far as like programming and everything's going with your clients, like you guys are still able to go out and do different things, right? Like there isn't a lot of restrictions for you guys.
I mean, specifically here in Indiana, our mask mandate is no longer in existence, with the exception of, say, public places who do require individuals to bring to have a mask on and such. Um, I know that let's see, our the local zoo that's like less than 10 minutes from my place, that's opening up on Saturday. Yep, Saturday. There's sporting events that's happening right now. There's different events that are happening, all socially distanced events and such as going on. So things are getting back to how it was work-wise for me pre-COVID times. Um, I think that as a profession, I think it may, and some people from ATRA, they may hear this, they know how to find me. I think, let's be honest. I mean, I think um, as far as the profession goes, I think it really made us really look at, okay, where are our dents in the armor? Because why was that other health profession were able to rather thrive or somewhat be okay, but kind of right there, people kind of like if you're in like in a place to where right there, if it's not as like really like accepted or really valued and such, then a lot of those folks got left behind. Um, so it kind of really raised awareness as far as what type of things we need to focus on. Should we really get more in depth as far as licensure? Do we need to step it up as far as our research, our accreditations, all those different types of things. So I do hope that with NCTRC and with ATRA here moving on, that that like things do change in regards to just protecting the integrity of the field and
Mm-hmm.
also making sure that our therapists are not being, left behind or any of those things. Because uh, it was somewhat rough for the first like month or two here here in Indiana, because we were at that time um, we were still allowed to see folks. We were still allowed to see our folks, yet it was kind of it was too restrictive. And I know that we're not the only state that has a Medicaid waiver. I know that there's folks in Texas. I know that Texas has one, and several other places have them as well. I just can't think of every single last one at the top of my head. But like I said before, depending on what state that you're at for right therapy, you either were able to stay afloat, unfortunately got left behind, or you were able to even do more in a positive way. But it's things that we all need to learn as a profession. And I think even for the therapist, um, I think for therapists, it kind of made us take a step back and say, okay, wait a minute. I'm working, it's like saying, I'm working like, um, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, I got now. Like for us therapists, we'll be like, wait a minute, I'm working 35, 40, or 50 or so hours a week. I'm doing bingo twice a week, karaoke once a week. I'm doing all these things to help others, but what am I doing for me?
Yeah, it's a
Because
self-care part, right?
right, because like the crazy thing is that um the crazy thing is that the therapists need therapists.
Yeah.
Therapists
Yeah.
need therapy,
So,
and whatever way and whatever form that is, hey, do so. But I just think that as people, it made us all step back. And I made a video quite some time ago that unfortunately, knowing everything that happened with COVID, some people are going to forget. Some people are going to forget that saying that, oh my gosh, I was sitting back and waiting for $600 was $600 dollar stimulus checks. I was waiting all this time for a 1,400 stimulus check or what have you. I was working all this time and such. I forgot that I had to do this to pay my bills. I forgot that I was sitting down crying, wondering when am I going to get my job back or if I had to change careers. Some people will forget this.
hmm
I like to call it selective amnesia. It is. But, personally, I know that some people have, this is coming from me. I know that some people said, I've heard some clients say, oh, well, I can't wait to go back to normal. There is no going back after this. in my opinion, only because you can either think of good or you can think of better. You can think of
Right.
either, okay, well, I'm glad that we're not where we were, but then again, we can go even further than this. And it's
It's a new
all
normal,
based,
right?
huh?
It's a new normal.
Yeah, it's a new normal. Yeah, it's a new normal. It's a new day. It's a new dawn, and so on and so forth. Everything has changed.
I just want to
Everything.
grab what Holly's saying here. She's saying our generation is forever changed.
Yes, and I'm saying this right now. Holly, I like you. You're great. Holly's a good friend of mine, who I went to school with during my OT days before I was doing rate therapy. So we go way back, way back.
Yeah. I just think about like the younger generation that is literally growing up during this pandemic,
Yeah.
and
If
they will never be the same.
if you're watching this right now, I want you to do it too. Take a finger, touch your nose. Tell me how you feel.
What?
Yeah, yeah. You touch your nose. Tell me how you feel.
I don't know.
Grateful.
Oh. Boom.
Because, if I feel like I had a crazy day, like I did yesterday, if I feel like the world's coming down, just punch your nose. Just touch your nose. Because somebody did not live to be able to touch their nose. Somebody was not able to open up their eyes this morning. I lost four family members and I lost four loved ones because of COVID last year. Four of them.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
nice.
Oh, it was rough. It was rough, man. It was rough. Um, and there are times when I've had clients, my two oldest ones who were diagnosed with COVID, and I feared for their own lives, and etc. So for me, I just thank the good Lord Himself that throughout all that, I'm here. Now, there's no guarantee and stuff I'm gonna be here next week. There's no guarantees, but I'm like, you know what? Yesterday that was yesterday. We don't know about tomorrow, but we got today.
And we
And
can
if you
touch
go
your
to
nose.
Yeah, yeah, touch your nose and such, or better yet, give yourself a hug. Because God,
Right.
we can give ourselves enough. Give yourself a hug. Jeez Almighty, like those type of things. So I mean, um, and so it did even open up. It even opened up my own eyes personally, as far as things that I need to continue to deal with, and how I can even add more things to my repertoire. So I like that, and yeah, there's always a diamond in the rough somewhere. You just gotta be able to just look out for it.
Yeah,
Just gotta be able to look out
absolutely.
for it.
Wow. You're spitting all the facts today.
Hey, I'm just,
A little bit dumbfounded right now, actually.
huh?
I'm a little bit dumbfounded right now.
You're good, man. You're good, man. It's a lot. So I mean, I can go on just talking about all the things we've seen, as far as systemic racism and all that stuff. But do I really need to talk about those things? I mean, we see it on the news. So I mean, I really not to say too much about that. Um, but I think, um, even with that and such, whether it's you know finding things that bring you happiness and joy, or whether it's reconnecting with old friends or old family who you may not have spoken to in quite some time, or even taking the time just to give some love and some TLC to your own self. And it could be in several it could be in several forms. Like I played more guitar. I played more of my guitar in the last year than in the previous 4 years combined. Um, I was playing so much, and I wanted to use that as, say, my my release to like let things out, um, etc. There was a time to when I used to kind of like push people off, or I would burn bridges with people, or I would say some hurtful things to people with that because I was turned on the inside. I didn't like where I was on the inside and stuff. So it was kind of like taking that time, doing some self discovering, doing some soul searching, and even going back and maybe even reviving or even facing some of those past relationships, some of those past friendships and stuff with people who I may have and such. So um, obviously I'm still growing. I still am. You know, I'm not perfect. No, I'm only human. But I think the most important thing is just it's just to say I'm not where I want to be, but I'm glad I'm not where I used to be.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely, for
that's
sure.
that and such. You know, it's it's having an attitude of gratitude. Um, because if you ever need gratitude, just touch your nose.
Who knows?
Just touch,
That's gonna be burned in my memory now. Gonna use that. That's good.
it
That's
helps.
good stuff.
It helps, man.
Yeah. So I know I just opened up a can of worms, but one of the things that I know that you wanted to talk about were the challenges that you've experienced being a therapist of color. And
Woohoo!
in light of this week's events, I thought that, despite how many other questions that I have here, I think that's probably the most important one that I have, um, because of everything that's going on in the world and as far as inclusion and adversity goes across the cross rec therapy, right?
Yeah. Are we talking about in the last week, or are we talking about just over my experience being a therapist in general?
However you resonate with that.
All right. Let's see. Where can I start? I know you just said you opened up a can of worms. Hey, look, don't give me a can, give me the whole bowl.
Right.
Um, I remember, this is about 6 months, after I moved down here from Detroit, by the way. Um, I was working with a client at the time, and I was working in the neighborhood here in Indiana, and um, let's see, I was walking out of the house one day because I just got done with the session, and there's a sheet of paper that's like folded up like this on my car, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute, I was like, I know there's not a I know there's not a parking ticket because like there's no signs over here, so I'm thinking I don't know what's going on. So I go there and I open it up and it had the N word written over it. Get the hell out the neighborhood. And I'm thinking, oh wait, we're still doing this in 2018? Oh, that's something. So that's one incident. Um, I've had clients before well, families before who said that, okay, well, you know, he's not our type to be a therapist. We want a certain person to be our therapist and such. I remember um, I can't remember the exact location, but I do remember the exact conversation. Um, that actually kind of rhymed. Nice. I was somewhere and there was this one gentleman who was talking so on and so forth. And I think I had like my computer or a book with me or something like that, right? And I talked to him and such. I said, hey, Don, that's a nice computer. Were you doing some school stuff and what have you? And I I told him, I said, yeah, I'm a therapist. I do work here, with individuals in the community and such. And he told me, he said, wait, you're a therapist? I said, yeah. And he said, oh, wait, you're not on the basketball team? You're not, you don't play any sports or things like that? I said, no, I'm a therapist. I work in healthcare. And he said, did you go to college? And I'm thinking, oh, this is fun. Um, and I
So
said,
you really know this is not going to go well.
and and he said, and I said, yeah, I went to college. I just got out of school, like say less than 6 months ago, and I'm working as a therapist now and such. And he said, damn, um, like he said, damn, and um, I never forget. I never forget. He said, he said this, and I thought it was powerful. He said, I'm not used to seeing a lot of therapists who are black. I'm not used to seeing that. But because I've met you, I think I'm going to be seeing a lot of other therapists around here potentially who are of different background, different culture. And he said, "Sir, if I offended you, I am sorry because I did not know." That's what he told me. That's what he told me. And I thought that was so, very telling because it was so easy for me to think of, oh, great, here we go with this again. Um, but and I said it Tuesday, handling things with grace because some people don't know what they don't know. That's okay.
Right.
But you cannot talk to closed ears. You cannot talk to closed ears and such. So um, that's another interesting thing that's happened. Um, I've had, it's another thing I could think of as such. Um, this wasn't at my actual job. This was during my internship. And if you saw the talk from what I said on Tuesday, as far as, well, maybe I'll talk about what happened on my internship. But now that, I'm off work and this and the other, what have you, I'm going to talk about it right now, if I may. So there was myself, there was another therapist of color, and there were a few other therapists there as well. And what happened is that my internship supervisor, she told me to come on. We had just got done with the client upstairs, and we are going to be late for another one. So I went downstairs, and she told me specifically, okay, sit here, talk to the person, blah 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 blah. Let me go around and come back in, etc. Right? So I do that. I sit down, I talk. I don't do any sessions or none of that stuff, right? Because I was still an intern. And so there were two other ladies in the facility. Here's a hint: they weren't black. I'm gonna say that. They're in the facility, just sitting down, doing notes, etc. Right? And so we go about the rest of the day. A couple of days go on. I hear from my internship supervisor saying that, hey, they want me and her to go over to see the site supervisor because one of those other therapists over there placed on the lie on me by telling me that, hey, Chris was doing a session unsupervised for a client, blah, 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 right? And predominantly, University of Michigan, oh, did I just name drop somebody? Yeah, I am. I don't work there anymore, so whatever. Um, and I was over there, and predominantly, there was only a couple of people who were there. There's probably five or so people I could think of at the top of my head who were of color, within the unit that I worked with and such, right? And there was an investigation that was done by the supervisor himself, herself, and apparently they saw that, hey, I did exactly what my internship supervisor told me to do. I was let off the hook with everything. But for me, it made me think about this. If that person, if the site supervisor would have taken it for face value just because I'm black or what have you, that would have cost me my internship. And let me put it into a timeline for everybody. I started my internship January 2018. I walked slash graduated from Eastern that April of that year and such. It just marked 3 years as of Monday and stuff, right? And I did my certification exam in July of that year. So by that point, it was like March or April, about a month or so left for the internship. If I would have lost that internship, I would have had to repeat everything all over. So who's to say that I wouldn't have gotten a summer internship that quick or even go to this to do that? Because everything was like, and was like incredible and such, right? So I mean, like, if I would have lost the internship, I don't know if I would have been able to find a summer internship, which means I would have had to wait at least another 6 or so months to find an internship somewhere else. And I was working at Jimmy John's at this point and such. So my thing is, would I even have went to the to a conference where I met, Ethan over at Peer Abilities? Chances are, I don't know. Or better, would I have sat down for my exam and taken it in July? I don't know. I would have had to take it maybe in 2019 for all I know. So one thing almost sent me back 6 or 7 months because all in 2018 alone, started the internship, finished the internship, graduated, passed the exam, and started my job all by 8 months of 2018. All of those things. One thing could have messed everything up. all those things. Now, and the funny thing is that, um, I still know a few of those people who still work there. I still do. I remember when I went for for my internship interview that it was four people who interviewed me all at the same time, four of them. One of them who I knew. And what happened is that, there was a couple of people from um there was a couple of people coming in from like um I think Oklahoma State or somewhere like that. So we had people coming in and stuff, right? Now, the person who originally was supposed to be my supervisor thought that we wouldn't be the right fit. Even though I was just as qualified as everybody else, if not a little even more qualified than everybody else, even though, I went to school like everybody else, I did my field work like everybody else, I did the application processes like everybody else and such. And I get it. I get it. But looking back on it right now, I don't hold any resentment for that. I don't, because that's only going to hurt me. It's only going to hurt me. And plus, I'm very grateful for where I'm at right now because I found way better waters over here where I'm at than if I was still back over at U of M working over there. Because, and for me, I used to say that if U of M would have offered me a job when I was graduating and such, and I was a therapist, that I would have took it. But now I'm like, yeah, I probably would have done it because for me, I wanted to go to a place to where I know my opinions, my resources, my ideas, all those things will be valued, to where all those things would be respected, and to when I would look at as, hey, he's that, and to where the narrative was like, hey, he's a therapist, not just he's a black belt therapist. Some of y'all need to catch that. Some of y'all need to catch that because I don't like to get the narrative that, hey, I'm a black belt therapist. I'm a recreational therapist from number one. I just so happen to be black. But I went to school like everybody else, studied like everybody else, my certification like everybody. I do the same thing just like everybody else. I just have a little more melanin in my skin, and that's okay. I have to be a little loud. That's okay. I have to be, a little bit unique. That's okay. That's okay and such. So those were a few of them. And I did have a client to say the N word right to my face one time. That was fun. Um, and yeah, I was like, yeah, we ain't doing this no more, blood. So those are a few of them. Now, I'm sure that for as long as I'm going to be here, there might be more instances with that. But at the end of the day, it's how I personally react to it. Because for me, I don't, I know I used to be a very in your face type of person. I used to be, but I have more control over that right now in my life because I like how my Cocoa Puffs taste for what I have right now in my life. I like those things. So for me, I'm not going to put myself in a position or invite myself to or attend an argument or attend something that I don't have to go to. You know, I don't have to, you know, automatically, just like get in someone's face just because somebody called me the N word. It's 2021 for God's sakes and stuff. This has been going on since 1619 when the first slaves came over in Charleston, Virginia, for God's sakes and such. And somebody call me on that if I'm wrong and such. And even 400 years beyond that, it's always been like that. The only problem right now is it's just very documented right now. So for me, it's just knowing that those things may happen, but having an attitude of grace and giving that to somebody else, even if I feel that they don't deserve it.
I think that's the one thing that I've learned from you the most, and not just, this particular situation, but in other times that we've talked, is like having that grace, whether it's towards your clients or your peers or your coworkers, is
Yeah.
I don't have to react to this situation if, I get to choose how I'm going to react. whether this individual may be struggling with dementia, maybe they don't know what they're saying, right?
Right.
Or you know,
The
people are
the
people,
way
right?
right. The way I look at it is like this, um, giving people grace even when they don't feel like, or when I don't feel like they deserve it. The reason why I do that is because God has given me so much grace when I fucked up in my life, when I messed up, when I said things, when I did people wrong, when I may have done whatever and such. So if He looked at all those things and still forgave me anyway because I'm still here, it would be logical to give a little bit of that to somebody else. Because I don't know what someone's going through. I don't know. Somebody may generally do not know. But then there's people, and like I said earlier, you cannot talk to closed ears. You can talk to some people to the blue in the face, but they just will not listen. So a lot, a lot of how I think about life has changed in the last 2 years of my own life personally. Not just with COVID, but just going through a whole bunch of stuff in my life. All those things have changed. So for me, I speak about this because, you know, I don't try to fake anything. I don't try to do this. I don't try to do that. Do I cry? Yes, I do. Do I get emotional? Yes, I do. I've had to learn a whole bunch about, being a man and stuff in the last, few years of my life and such. Because, I used to think that being a man was thinking that, oh my gosh, like, oh, this is like, you gotta be tough, you gotta do this, can't let other people see you cry and stuff. But the hardest, no, the strongest thing a man can do is cry. And I've learned that personally because I shed so many damn tears in the last year and so in my life. So many. I've had waterfalls full of tears. I could create the Atlantic Ocean with how many tears I've had in the last 2 years of my life as such. But, you know, it's one of those things to when um, being vulnerable in that sense can actually show somebody's true color because, anybody can put, for a long time, even when the mask mandate came over and when everybody had to start wearing masks, and I should have made this a video. I should have. But to rehash what I was thinking, because all my ideas are in here, what I said is that, people have always worn masks. We're just now seeing it in 2020.
Wow.
Some of y'all didn't. Some of y'all didn't hear that. Some of y'all didn't catch that. So I'm gonna say it one more time. We have always worn masks, but we're just now seeing it in 2020 because chances are you
Yeah.
wear masks when you're around your friends. You wear Sometimes we wear masks when we're around family. Sometimes we wear masks when we're around our kids and such. Some of us wear masks in school, at work with whomever and such. So my thing is like knowing that the mask is there, can you actually say, okay, forget the mask because I was made, and if nobody never told y'all this, you were made on purpose for a purpose. You were. You were. Um, there's a lot of things I get the fact it truly is a jungle out there. I understand that. But at the end of the day, whatever gift that you have, whatever gift you have, you know, by the time that you're off this earth, squeeze. You ever had fresh squeeze? You ever had fresh squeezed oranges before? You ever had them?
Yeah.
Okay, just
So
follow,
good.
follow me where I'm going with this. You have an orange, right? You know how you gotta squeeze every ounce of juice from out that orange to get all the juice out of it and stuff, right?
Hmm.
Well, your gift, whatever that may be, is like that orange. You gotta squeeze every single ounce of juice and potential out of that gift, and you have it in this cup, and that cup is your gift to society. That society, that gift is, to your neighborhood or to your school or your workforce or whatever case may be and such. Because I know they say that the two most important days of your life is the day you're born and the day you figure out why you're born. I would argue that just three: the day you're born, the day you figure out why you're born, and the day you leave this earth. Because on your last day, on your last breath, for Christopher Eric Byrd himself, I want to be able to look back and say, you know what? I lived a truly successful life because there's been hundreds and thousands of people whose lives are better off because I helped make a genuine difference to them.
Absolutely.
Because that's what I
Absolutely.
truly feel like success is. How many people are better off? How many people are more impacted because your light shined in their lives? I said, this ain't no therapy stuff. This is real stuff, man. This is like legit stuff, okay? And that's all it be. Everybody has a light. Let that light, give that light to somebody else. Because somebody may be going through some stuff that you may not even know about. And maybe somebody just needs a shoulder to lean on. But they might just need somebody to talk to. And whether you're a therapist, whether you're, you know, the secretary at work, or whether you're doing this and doing that and such, everybody's got a light. Everybody. So go out and make that light shine, man.
That's actually my favorite Bible verse too, is Matthew 5:16.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, I'm telling you,
absolutely.
man. This is like not what the plan for Pastor Chris to come out tonight, but some it just felt to come out. So I mean, that's how I feel. But yeah, like I said, people are created on purpose for a purpose.
Absolutely.
Unfor- unfortunately, um, unfortunately, we live in times to when it's very easy for people to kind of tell others how to live their lives.
Hmm.
And I truly feel there's three. There's people who can make a positive difference, a negative difference, or no difference at all. So for me, I want to be one of those people who makes a difference, who wants to. If someone, people who know me personally can tell you, I've never in my life said that I want to be famous, or I never wanted to like do this to do that and such. For me, at the end of the day, I'm a young 25 going on 26-year-old black kid from Detroit, Michigan, from the streets, from the hood, who got out and just
Hmm.
wants to do something good with his life. That's it. That's it.
I see very good things for you, Chris.
Hey man, I'm just trying, man. That's all it is. So I mean,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I guess yeah, I think like the last 5 or 10 minutes, I just went forget deep. That was like neck high and such going deep and stuff. I don't usually get that deep and such, but I was like, you know what? I'm like, somebody may need to hear that. Somebody. So
No, 100%. Yeah.
yeah,
No, that was a really good conversation.
yeah,
I think,
man.
whether you're a rec therapist, whether or not, whatever you're doing, I think anybody needs to hear that and
Yeah,
message, right?
yeah. Because out there, sometimes with social media, sometimes with the news itself, sometimes bad news is good news, which
Right.
is kind of crazy to me. But I do feel that there's a lot of good news out there. Um, Sometimes, you know, listening to Elmo or listening to the Wiggles is better than listening to the news.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll stand behind that any day.
Some,
100%.
so I mean, my thing is it's okay because we have, people have to truly protect, you know, themselves and protect up here because if this ain't right, oh my gosh, if this ain't right, it will show in
Hmm.
many ways, in another and such because it's like toil, it's like poison, you know.
Yeah.
I think I posted on my Facebook not too long ago, but we know cancel culture is running wild out here. We know this and such, but I've always wondered, well, I hope cancel culture has the same energy for canceling any toxic or negative thoughts that they had about themselves.
Right.
I'm just gonna keep it at that and such. Um, but yeah, that's really how I feel, man. I
Yeah.
like I said, I know I'm a therapist and I know that people know of me and such, but for me, I'm just a regular, young 20, going on 26-year-old black guy, black kid from Detroit. who was able to get out and wants to make a difference and make this world a little bit of a better place. Just a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to do my part. And if red therapy is my calling, then my thing is, hey, I'm just going to squeeze everything out of it that I can.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for meeting with me today, Chris. It's been a really good call.
Yeah. If I think can we actually take some questions from people who are plugged in to the video?
Yeah, yeah. I know there's a couple of comments up
Yeah.
here. I think Crystal had something. I don't know if
Yeah.
she's still here or
Yeah.
not.
Please, while I take a little sip of water, please do. But by the way,
Yeah,
stay hydrated, my friends.
for everyone that's still here.
Hmm.
Um, Crystal said, yes, such a good point about handling these situations with grace, although it isn't easy.
Yeah,
Uh,
because hey, look, I ain't gonna hold y'all up. It's not always easy. It's not. Um, it's not always easy, but sometimes sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing to do. Sometimes it's truly the hardest thing to do is the right thing to do and such. So I mean,
yeah,
it would be easy for me to lash out. It would be easy for me to retaliate, but sometimes it's just better just to let it go. Now, if you don't know what let it go means, just watch Frozen.
absolutely. Take a little mind break, you know?
Yep, it'll tell you like 37 million times just to let it go. So just let it go.
Oh. Thank you so much again, though, Chris. I really, really appreciate this conversation and everything that you're doing for the field, and connecting with you on a pretty regular basis and everything. And yeah, it's been a really like a pleasure getting to know you. And yeah, come to Canada one of these days, and post COVID, keep your COVID over there, but come to
Yeah,
Canada one of these days, and
I have thought about potentially going over there for my birthday in a couple months. I have thought about that. 'Cause I've never
yeah,
been up there. Never been up there.
yeah,
But yeah, maybe. I know it's something I have like legit have thought about doing because I've always wanted to, because like I was just in Detroit on Saturday and such. So I've always wondered,
Mhm.
and I looked over and I'm like, oh wait, there's Windsor. So I'm like, what else like over there? So I'm like, maybe it'll happen. Well, I know it's gonna happen, but when it's gonna happen, I don't know. So I mean, um,
Gotta wait for those borders to open up, right?
yeah, whenever that happens. But thankfully, because of the power of technology and such, you're in. Okay, what part of Canada are you in?
Ontario in Hamilton.
Okay, so how far is Hamilton from like Windsor? Because I don't know jack squat about it.
I want to say a few hours.
Okay.
Yeah, like 3 hours. So
Okay.
not too far.
Yeah, I have to keep that in mind and such because um, I do know one thing I've always wanted to do is even go to a Canada right there, the conference. Just to
Yeah,
meet some folks over
yeah.
there and stuff. So I mean,
Conference once in a while, eh?
yeah. Or better yet, what if I were to present at a Canada conference and such? No, just a thought, just a thought, just a thought. I don't know.
I don't think that's too wild. I think you'd rock that, honestly.
Yeah, something like that. I've thought about
Yeah,
it. I have ideas. I have
yeah.
topics and so on and so forth. But yeah, I know that we're in pretty good contact and such. And I know that you've seen, the therapist, Chris, and such. But as I talk to people a lot more, then they see the person too. Which, by the way, there's not too big of a difference, except I'm way louder as a person. I'm loud as a therapist. People who know me, they can tell you that. They can tell you that.
Loud
I'll
is
just put it.
proud, though. Come
Oh
on.
yeah, I'll put it out there, man. Because like I tell
Yeah.
I tell field work students, if you're quiet, you can't be in healthcare if you're quiet.
No,
You
yeah,
can't.
you have to be like very much out there.
Right. I tell people if you want a job that involves being quiet, work as a mime at the circus. I'm sure they're hiring people. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks so much again, eh? Have a great night.
Hey, you too. Take care of yourself. I
Bye, Chris.
stay.